The Biden administration droned, was he an aid worker or an ISIS-K operative?
I don't know because we're reviewing it.
Well, see, you'd think you'd kind of know before you off somebody with a Predator drone whether he's an aid worker or he's an ISIS-K.
Nobody puts it quite like Senator Rand Paul grilling Secretary of State Antony Blinken today over a recent drone strike in Kabul targeting what the Pentagon initially said was an ISIS-K member, and we all cheered thinking, oh, we've got our common sense back, we know what we're doing in Afghanistan. But subsequent evidence indicated it was actually a worker for an American aid organization and also members of his family, which makes the story terrible. It was the second day of questioning for Blinken as members of the House and Senate Foreign Relations Committees pressed him on the disastrous U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The House didn't do such a great job. The Senate did a lot better. The overarching theme of the questioning, how a 20-year war that came at tremendous cost to U.S. Could end in America's surrender to the Taliban. And here to weigh in on this is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Sir, thank you for coming on. Good to see you again. I want to start with the Reaper drone attack that took out this aid worker.
Yeah.
It seems quite careless. I think Rand Paul summed it up pretty well. A lot of kids died in this. What did you make of this?
Well, where did we get the intel about this guy?
Yeah.
Here's my big concern. We're no longer present in Afghanistan. The CIA listing post along the border has been closed. We don't have any presence in Afghanistan. Did the Taliban tell us about this guy? So I want to know, where did the intel come from? And it highlights a greater problem, Rob. Once you're out of a country, there is no way in hell you can really track the rise of terrorism. You make a lot of mistakes and misjudgment. You need people on the ground, working with those on the ground to get a better picture of what's going on.
Yeah. Here's Senator Ted Cruz landing another blow against Blinken. Let's take a look.
We've seen Democrats on this committee explaining at great length how everything that happened in Afghanistan is Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is the President of the United States. Kamala Harris is the Vice President of the United States. You are the United States Secretary of State. Just like Jimmy Carter owns the disaster of the Iran hostage crisis, you own this.
You know, I think the fact that he showed up today, I think it was clearly orchestrated that he was on Skype yesterday, but he showed up today. I think the hits were a lot harder. What did you make of it?
Yeah. Well, number one, on January the 20th, when Biden took over, right? Mm-hmm. We had 2,500 troops at Bagram Air Base. Bagram was in the hands of the United States. We had a conditions-based withdrawal agreement with the Taliban. Everybody wants to get out, but nobody wants another 9/11. So Trump said to the Taliban, if you try to take the country over militarily, the deal is off. And if you don't work with the Afghan government, the deal is off. So here's what happened. It was Biden who decided to close Bagram Air Base. If you left it up to Trump, Bagram would still be in U.S. hands because it's the most valuable military base in probably the entire world. So this is a bunch of BS. It was Joe Biden who turned down sound military advice. It was Joe Biden who closed Bagram Air Base. It was Joe Biden who took all of our troops out. And it's Joe Biden who set the table for another 9/11. And this was the same Joe Biden said get out of Iraq that allowed the rise of ISIS that wound up attacking 20 countries and killing 2,000 people. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's been radical Islam's best friend. He doesn't intend to be, but he doesn't understand what it takes to protect America. This was Joe Biden, not Donald Trump.
You introduced a resolution today calling on the State Department to declare the Taliban a foreign terrorist organization. I think it shocks a lot of people that it's not already considered that in this country.
Shocked me. So why would I say they're terrorists? They look like terrorists and they act like terrorists. Yeah. You got to remember there'd have been no 9/11 20 years ago if it hadn't been for the Taliban providing safe haven to al-Qaeda. This same crowd is in charge, and the Interior Minister, their FBI director, is an Akani network member who has a $10 million bounty on his hand offered by the U.S. government. So I'm trying to get the Congress to push the Biden administration to declare them a foreign terrorist organization, which would change our relationship. We couldn't give them any money if that designation was given to the Taliban, and I dare a Democrat to vote against the idea that the Taliban is not a foreign terrorist organization.
Yeah. We'll see how that turns out. I want to switch gears for a second. I want to talk about this recall election in California. The polls are set to close in under an hour. This is a big moment. I mean, it's not just about living in California. This is a big moment for politics in this country. There are accusations out there that people, including one of our own reporters, one of our guys in California, went to cast a ballot, was told that his ballot was already cast. He's a Republican. Even KTLA Los Angeles, one of the biggest stations in LA, has reported a number of people, all Republicans, go into the polls and they say, oh, no, you already voted. What do you make of a story like that?
I think they're screwed up in California at every level in terms of their economy, in terms of how they vote. They have ballot harvesting. You literally can go up and down the street and get people to take their ballot from them and fill it out for them. So it's ripe for fraud. Mail-in voting, ballot harvesting has to be regulated better than they're doing in California. But let's look at this. This is probably the deepest blue state in the country. The governor is being recalled because liberalism isn't working. Crime is through the roof. People are leaving the state. You can't walk down the street with your family without being assaulted or seeing something horrible. So liberalism is really being rejected all over the country. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but God bless Larry Elder for trying.
Yeah. He's got an uphill battle, and I think we said the good news is that even if he doesn't get it this time, he's got another shot here in about a year.
Amen.
And I want to ask you one more question, a question we get all the time from our viewers. The Associated Press reported last month you and Susan Collins had supported all 8 Biden judges that had been confirmed. And Republicans get really heated over this story, and I wanted to give you a chance just to respond to that story.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, I was the chairman. I appreciate it. I was the chairman of the Judiciary Committee where we confirmed, I think, 200 judges on Trump's watch. We talk a lot about the Constitution. The advise and consent role of Congress, the Senate, not Congress, is to make sure that the unqualified are weeded out. When we lose an election, I expect Democrats to be able to pick judges. When we win an election, I expect Republicans to be able to pick judges. Scalia got 97 votes. Ginsburg got 98 votes. It used to not be this way. The Democrats started this with Clarence Thomas, Kavanaugh, Bork. They've tried to declare war on conservatism. I stood up for Brett Kavanaugh. They're out in front of his house tonight trying to intimidate the hell out of him. But Lindsey Graham's view that the Constitution has a role for the Senate, and the role for the Senate is to weed out the unqualified. But my vote hasn't been outcome determinative. We'll see if Breyer retires and see who they pick. But I'm of the ilk that elections matter, and that the Constitution wasn't written for one party, where one party gets all their judges and the other side doesn't. How do you avoid this? Win the White House. Let's get the White House back. Let's get the Senate back in 2022. Look at the Constitution, and I think you will agree that it wasn't meant for one party to win and the other party to lose.
If let's say, and it's the last question I have on this, in a hypothetical situation, Donald Trump wins the 2024 election, gets back in the White House, do you think that Democrats in the Senate will do the same service to Republicans, to Trump judges again, that you're doing for them at this point?
No, a few will.
few will.
But the Constitution, a few will. I think they did last time, one or two. But your point is well taken. Liberals have declared war on conservative judges, starting with Bork and Clarence Thomas, right? What did they try to do, Kavanaugh? Ruin the guy's friggin' life to keep the seat open.
And you were one of the most heated over that. You got madder about that than just about anybody. Yeah.
You know why people listen to me? Because I actually voted for their judges. I said I would never do to them what you're doing to this guy. And I don't want to drive people away from being judges. The reason Kavanaugh is so important, if they were able to take him out, who would want to be a young lawyer coming forward in the future to be a conservative judge? So I fought him like hell. But I do believe the Constitution has a roadmap for us, and we should follow it. Whether they decide to follow it up, I don't know. But I tell you one thing, I'll fight for our people. Yeah. I've proven that, I hope, to the people out there that I will fight for conservative judges, but I do believe the constitutional framework in this country is being hijacked by the liberals, and I'm not so sure that I want to hijack it myself.
It's well said. You did fight. You fought like hell for Kavanaugh. I do remember that. South Carolina.
He was worth fighting for.
Yeah. Senator Lindsey Graham, sir, thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you, buddy.